Hey, do y'all? It's your boy Wavy, Stay Wavy TV, back at y'all with another video. Let's get it. We in this bit, man. Let's talk about some boxing, man. So I want to get my prediction for Shawn Porter versus Terence Crawford. I believe that fight is happening sometime in November. I think it's November 9th or November 10th. Somebody correct me in the comments on the correct date, because I'm just freestyling off the dome type shit this morning, you know what I'm saying? But my prediction is, man, I believe that Showtime Shawn Porter is going to expose Terence Bud Crawford. Now, let me explain why. Let me start this video off by saying this, bruh. I honestly believe that Shawn Porter beat Errol Spence in that fight. If y'all go back and watch the fight start to finish, bruh, Shawn Porter was touching Errol Spence the entire fight, bruh. You know what I'm saying? I think what fucked up Shawn Porter was the fact that he got knocked down, bruh. It was that one mistake. And when you're going up against a fighter like Errol Spence Jr., you can't make that mistake of getting put on your ass, bruh. Because they was already favoring Errol Spence going into the fight. He was already Shawn Porter was already going into that fight as the underdog. On top of that, Shawn Porter has had multiple fights where he's lost, like, by, a slight decision, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's had multiple close fights, like the one he had with Keith Thurman, where a lot of people feel like he won that fight, but because he was getting touched up, because Shawn Porter's defense is not the best, they end up giving the fight to the other fighter, you know what I'm saying? We've seen this happen with Errol Spence, Keith Thurman. He lost to Kell Brook. This also happened with Dennis Ugas, who Shawn Porter beat, but I believe he lost to Ugas. You know what I'm saying? Shawn Porter, he's not a good defensive fighter, but he does a great job of pressuring and roughing up his opponents. And we don't really see other opponents rough up certain fighters the way Shawn Porter does. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Terence Crawford, right? I know what y'all are thinking, right? I know what y'all thinking. If Shawn Porter lost to Errol Spence, right, by decision, right, which I believe he won that fight, right? What makes me think that Shawn Porter can beat Terence Crawford? Let me explain why. Because, number one, Shawn Porter has a better resume at 147 than Terence Crawford does. Number two, Shawn Porter has more experience at 147 and in championship fights at 147. Right? We seen Shawn Porter beat Danny Garcia. We seen Shawn Porter arguably beat Keith Thurman. And let's be honest, when it comes to Errol Spence Jr.'s opponents, Shawn Porter has done the best job fighting Errol Spence Jr. A lot of people like myself believe Shawn Porter should have won that fight. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not mad that they gave the fight to Errol Spence, because Errol Spence fought Shawn Porter with his own style, and he put him on his ass. You know what I'm saying? So I totally understand why people would say, you know what, Errol Spence won that fight. That's totally understandable. You dig what I'm saying? But let's make one thing clear, bruh. Terence Crawford has never fought a fighter like Shawn Porter at 147. This is honestly his first fight at 147 against a top competitor at 147. You understand what I'm saying? So we've already seen Terence Crawford have issues with other opponents that's not at that top level. We've seen Terence Crawford get wobbled. We've seen Terence Crawford get dropped, but they tried to call it a slip. We've seen this happen, bruh. We've seen this happen, right? We've seen how when Terence Crawford even fought a guy like Amir Khan, who's known for having a glass jaw, if you watch the earlier rounds of that fight, Amir Khan was touching Terence Crawford, bruh, until Terence Crawford hit him in his nuts, and Amir Khan didn't want to keep fighting because he got low blowed. But y'all made excuses for that because y'all are so in love with Terence Crawford that y'all just can't see reality, bruh. Y'all made excuses for that man hitting Amir Khan in his nuts. You dig what I'm saying? But look, man, this is going to be the toughest fight that you've seen Terence Crawford in at 147. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, bruh, he's going to get exposed, bruh. he is going to get exposed, bruh. I promise you. I promise you. And everybody that disagree with me, I want you to leave a comment, because when the fight is over, I want y'all to come back to this video and be like, damn, bruh, Stay Wavy TV, you know, he was right. He was 100% right. You know what I'm saying? This ain't going to be the fight that y'all think it's going to be. Shawn Porter is going to listen, Shawn Porter is going to make Terence Crawford extremely uncomfortable. He's going to be extremely uncomfortable. He's going to get touched up. He's going to get roughed up. His face is going to be marked up. This ain't going to be what y'all think it's going to be, bruh. Terence Crawford is going to have to dig deep, and he's going to have to knock Shawn Porter out. He's not going to win this fight by decision, bruh. He's not. He's not. He's coming to the end of his contract with Bob Arum, right? Bob Arum didn't even want to make this fight happen, so they went the purse bid. So he already got Bob Arum in Top Rank against him. Bob Arum don't give a fuck if Shawn Porter wins or loses this fight. You know what I'm saying? We could have, and let's be honest, we could have seen Terence Crawford versus Danny Garcia. We could have seen Terence Crawford versus Keith Thurman, but his promoter Bob Arum didn't want to pay for the fights. He didn't want to properly pay the fighters. He wanted to send them lowball offers. Tried to send Keith Thurman $500K or something like that. Man, Keith Thurman just made what? $4 or $5 million off that fight with Manny Pacquiao. Why the fuck would Keith Thurman do that? He gave Danny Garcia a lowball offer. Listen, guys. Listen to what I'm saying, man. It's going to be a hell of a fight, bruh. And I believe that Shawn Porter is going to win this fight by decision. He's going to expose Bud Crawford, and we're going to see Shawn Porter get a rematch with Errol Spence Jr. And I believe that Shawn Porter is going to beat Errol Spence Jr. as well. I already believe he won the first fight, but when you look at Errol Spence, and you look at, you know, him being in that car accident where he nearly lost his life. Now he had a torn retina that he suffered in sparring. We've seen a video leak out of Errol Spence getting touched up in sparring. You know what I'm saying? While he was training for Manny Pacquiao, ended up tearing his retina. You dig what I'm saying? And doctors are already advising Errol Spence Jr. to retire. They don't even think he should box anymore, because he's putting himself at risk of possibly being blind if he re-injures that eye. And we all know in the sport of boxing, you're going to get hit. So, you know, him getting hit in that eye is inevitable. You know, imagine if, you know, man, let me not go too deep into that, bro. But long story short, bro, Shawn Porter is going to win this fight. I'm going to put money on Shawn Porter. I'm going for the underdog. I believe I'll make a lot of money off this fight. And like I said, man, Shawn Porter is going to get that belt back. He's going to go up against Errol Spence, beat Errol Spence, and then we're probably going to see Shawn Porter versus Keith Thurman Part 2. And that'll probably happen sometime next year, probably late next year. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, it's your boy Wavy, Stay Wavy TV, man. Subscribe, leave a comment. I'm out this bitch. Let's get it.